Should we postpone?
No. Drop the shutters. She's moving too much.
There's a cranial strap on the left.
I'm not gonna cut around a cranial strap.
Do you want to redose her?
Yes, Jane. That would be extremely helpful.
Hey, welcome to MovieStrange, episode number 24. We got the full crew here. We got Drew and Al. Hey guys, how's it going?
What's going on?
Hello.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Al, anybody pass away since you've been gone? Any cult figures that you want to bring up?
I'm sure someone died.
I think
lots of people are dying, you know.
Charles Grodin is not. I wouldn't call him a cult guy.
There's a guy that I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I think he played like Tarzan in the full films.
I heard that because of Tarzan, but I don't know who he is. So
I'll say Eric Gatto, but that's probably not true.
Well, Clarence Williams III just died.
He did. He passed away.
week.
Yes, Mod Squad guy and many other things.
Yes, and I saw an article that said he was in the cult films Purple Rain and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. And I was like, not everything that we watch on this is a cult film, but those are not cult films.
I who's not cult, expert like you guys, I would not call those cult films. Like Purple Rain is not a cult film.
Right. Like I'm Gonna Get You Sucker is a very funny movie.
Yeah.
Purple Rain is a movie with excellent music, but they're not cult films.
Yeah. So Al, while you've been away in your lair, whatever's going on, have you been watching any new cult stuff? You staying away from films? What's going on?
I was taking a movie break for a while, but now I have 9 pounds of movies coming in on Thursday. So I'll
9 pounds from
diving
Vinegar Syndrome?
right back into the pile. Yes, it's from the halfway to Black Friday sale that just occurred.
Wow.
Nice.
So I got things like Six String Samurai, was it Alien LA? Stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
Have you seen them?
I have not, so we'll see how it goes.
Six String Samurai is fun.
You buy these things so what
That's
makes
right.
you
I blind buy everything.
No, I'm wondering what makes you pick the films? Are they picked for you or do you pick them?
Well, as a subscriber, they're picked for you.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm really just like backfilling my collection.
What does that mean?
So I collect. I'm trying to collect every release, every Vinegar Syndrome release, but some of them are way out of print and very pricey at this point. So.
Oh wow. Well, and they keep sending you once a month. They send you stuff. They pick.
That's right. Like I think this package was, I think at least 8 movies.
Wow. Blu-ray, all Blu-ray?
All Blu-ray, yeah.
These guys are doing.
Oh, the other big release was Scanners Cop 1 and 2, which is another 4K release they're putting out, which looks great.
Nice.
Not that I believe in God, but they're doing God's work up there in Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
That's
all
right.
this Blu-ray work that they're doing. It's amazing. Jesus. I love them. All right. Well, Al, these are the words from last week. See if you can guess the movie. Girl experiment.
I'll try.
Girl experiment, teeth death. Any ideas?
Then go watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
What's
think
the other one?
I gave you the hint and and we watched them. So Drew, why don't you tell me what the movie is? I'll show a little poster and we'll get on with it.
Well, I recently watched Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, and I needed to scrub my brain with an abrasive,
All of us. Yes.
high-quality zombie film. So I watched and enjoyed his original feature, Dawn of the Dead remake, which is still a very entertaining movie.
That's a very good
movie.
film.
It's a very good film. This movie is the kind of movie I think people are talking about what they think Army of the Dead is. It does something different with the genre type of thing. But it actually does. This movie is called The Girl with All the Gifts. That's gifts as in presents, not gifts as in graphic image files.
Is that GIF or GIF?
That is officially GIF, but it makes me think of peanut butter, and I'd rather talk about the movie.
Right.
It's a zombie film. It stars Gemma Arterton, Patty Considine, an excellent Glenn Close, and this young girl who's the center of that poster. Her name is Senya Nanua. She says I think her first role ever, definitely an early role, and she's excellent. And it's an excellent zombie film and an excellent film on its own, and based on a book, which I'll talk about, which I also read and enjoyed.
Right.
So
we're going to spoil this one. I'm just going to say it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, the movie's from 2016. The book is from 2014.
This is like a palate cleanser for that Army of the Dead thing that Zack Snyder did. And it's a 90 million versus 5 million. So that's all I want to say. Go. Give me some info on this film.
Well, this movie, it's one of those projects like the movie and comic Kick-Ass. They developed the written property and the movie at the same time. So the book came out in 2014. I read the book. It's a really satisfying, excellent thriller. And they also, the same guy, M.R. Carey, who wrote the book, he's credited as Mike Carey, who wrote the movie, but it's the same guy. And there are some differences between the two that have various levels of importance or not, and we can talk about those. But the reason that the movie really works for me right out of the gate, it drops you into a situation where you don't know what's going on. Right. Unfortunately, the whole thing has always been marketed as a zombie movie, but if you didn't know that, you really wouldn't know what kind of movie you're watching, because there's these children that are imprisoned, and then they're taken to a classroom, but the whole time they're in the classroom, they're strapped to their wheelchairs. And then that scene happens where a teacher is seen to be maybe a little too friendly, and she gets warned that they're not children at all, which is true and not true. And then about 25 minutes into the movie, that's when you discover that it's really a zombie movie, but the children are still a wild card to you. So I'm glad that you liked it. I think it does a lot of interesting stuff. It doesn't hold the intensity of the first 25 minutes.
I said I liked it.
You said it was a palate cleanser.
Right.
You said it was a palate cleanser from Army of the Dead, so it at least didn't suck that much.
No, I actually quite enjoyed it. So I just dropped the lead right there. But yeah, it drops you right into this, you know me, anti-backstory guy. But still, I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? And because you're right, they kind of, by saying it's a zombie film, they kind of kill it a little bit, because you just expect, I knew that those kids, and once he does the thing with the arm and you realize, okay, but they hold back what it is about these kids that's so important, right? These kids all...
Yes, they do.
These kids all, spoiler alert, ate their way out of their parents, or out of their mother, right? Which
they
you
should have
learn
given
later.
us a scene of that, though.
They did
I
not.
wanted some more show and not tell.
Yeah, a lot of I know. Well, no, Al, this fits, but this this dystopian thing, this had to have been good for you, right? You had to have been like, oh my god, this is perfect.
I mean, this movie was great. I would say this is probably one of the better ones that we've watched together.
Oh, really?
Cool. I would like to point out that this is the second Gemma Arterton film that Drew has selected for us.
Yes, it is.
So maybe there's some hidden meaning there. I don't know.
I think, well,
no, it's not hidden. It's not hidden. I think she's very, very talented and good at acting as well. So
she's they really play up her relationship with the young zombie girl in this one, and they actually, that was an interesting thing. I had not watched the trailer. I pulled it down, but I didn't watch it until we did it tonight. That whole reading her story that she read in the classroom about the beautiful woman who she ends up saving. That was an interesting way to show this trailer, because a lot of the scenes, I mean, they do give it away that it's all zombie stuff, but it's like that 28 weeks. There's so many, here's the problem with zombie films, and what Zack Snyder doesn't understand, I guess, maybe. They're all derivative of the original, right? They're all derivative of Night of the Living Dead, George Romero.
Sure.
So all these films have come out, Dawn of the Dead 1, Dawn of the Dead remake, all George Romero's films, and 28 Days comes out, 28 Weeks Later comes out.
28 Days Later is the zombie movie. 28 Days is the Sandra Bullock rehab movie. So
what is the first 28?
28 Days Later.
That's the first one.
And then the 28 Weeks Later is the sequel. And they're both actually very good, which is a pleasant surprise.
I apologize for my ignorance. 28 Days is the Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
It's a Sandra Bullock movie
wonderful
about drinking or
performance
something.
by Viggo Mortensen.
Okay, but that's not a zombie film, right?
Right, that's who.
Okay.
I couldn't remember who the male lead
So,
was.
Yeah.
and even Zack Snyder, his Dawn of the Dead is one of the quintessential, I think, zombie films made. I think he did a great job.
Well,
It's
you're
excellent.
also forgetting Shaun of the Dead as well. I mean, that's like, even though that's a spoof of the genre, that's one of the
It's a good
definitely one of the
zombie
better
film.
ones
No.
that, yeah.
I agree. I mean, that's
okay.
one of the right kinds of ways to spoof or pay homage or whatever you want with a horror comedy, which is one of the hardest balances to find. It is in on the joke that it is a zombie movie while also being a really good zombie
very
movie.
scary, yes.
And that's really hard to pull off.
I'm always impressed how they all go back to Night of the Living Dead. The fact that if you get bit, you get infected. You got to shoot them in the head. You know, the whole brain thing. That all started with the one film, right? So they all do it. Now this one, I guess, is also based, or there's a PlayStation game or something.
Yes, The Last of Us. The plots are very similar story wise. I don't know. I don't really know what came first though.
But this outbreak was about a fungus that infects people.
Yeah,
That's right.
And
A
that's what it is in the
cordyceps fungus.
And there's stages to
That's
this
right.
fungus, like any fungus or anything that what's the line they use in the film, that it takes over your brain and it becomes part of you. It's sucking off you. I forget what.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that's the thing. The original stage of the infection is a parasitic relationship because you become a monster that's controlled by the fungus. The children represent a symbiotic relationship where they are definitely not mindless zombies, but they're also clearly not the same as other humans. And I think the whole thing was inspired maybe for both the video game, which I know about and is supposed to be excellent, I haven't played, and for this movie, that there is a real fungus that I think it attacks ants, and it actually like turns them into zombies that it controls, which I mean, that's pretty evocative. So I get that works. But the other reason that this works as a movie, which is the same reason that Dawn of the Dead remake works and 17 years later the guy's new movie doesn't, it's got really good characters.
Yeah. And
it builds right into the beginning, the relationship between this young girl, Melanie, played by Senya Nanua, and I've never seen her in anything else. She was amazing. And Gemma Arterton is Miss Justineau, her teacher. Glenn Close is the scientist who is alternately nefarious and trying to be a hero that saves humanity. And Paddy Considine, a soldier trying to keep them alive. And there are other characters, but those are the main four. And they're all just really excellent roles, and there's a fearlessness to them, and the movie is very violent, but there aren't deaths that it's not fun. It's not a fun movie. There's not a lot of levity in the movie, but I think it's good that they treat it with such seriousness.
Well, and there's some depth behind this film because it's about humanity. And you mentioned Glenn Close, who it's surprising that she's in a film like this, especially a British made film, right? She's in a zombie film. You see her, and it gives you a little gravitas to the film. Paddy Considine, I love watching that guy. But they became this little girls who they're both alternately trying to protect and afraid of at the same time, because if she gets hungry and she starts sniffing them, she's going to eat. She's going out, and they send her out to eat cats and whatever she has to eat to keep her alive. It's fantastic. But they become her parents.
Yeah,
I mean,
she actively doesn't want to hurt them.
No, she
and
does
that's
not
why
want to
she's
hurt
like,
them.
I'll put on the mask. You can handcuff me. She has fun riding on the top of the armored truck, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's still a kid.
Yeah.
Well, the reason Glenn Close is in it is because she has a sister who has said to her whole career, I want you to do a zombie movie. And this script came across, I guess, her agent's desk or something, and they offered her the role, and the first thing Glenn Close did was call her sister and say, I'm in a zombie movie. So it's kind of a sweet personal thing.
And her sister's in the film.
Off her list. Yes, she is. And
She's in the
the
film.
movie, she picked a doozy of a zombie movie. I mean, it's a great role. She's great in it. She's a wonderful actress. And like you said, it's about the nature of being human and what does it mean to be a human. And it's that I think that's right in the beginning, because the one thing that you don't see from Melanie's character in those first 20 minutes, as she's restraining herself, eating live mealworms in a classroom with other kids inside a jail cell. Some of the kids disappear. It's all normal. So you really don't know what's going on because she's not reacting like someone who thinks it's wrong to be imprisoned or to eat live mealworms.
Well, it starts with
to me, that's one of the things. Like what you grow up with is what you think is normal.
Yeah, except
which I think a lot of people can relate to, and that is portrayed really well in that.
Well, the movie changes when Glenn Close says pick a number between 1 and 13 or 1 and 20, and she picks 13, and that's when she realizes her number was 4. She picked 13 2 days before.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Right.
That's
and
right.
they pull that one kid. Now the kid's gone. Well, you realize they're doing experiments on these people because these kids, because they're trying, Glenn Close is actually trying to figure out how to make a vaccine for this. That's the other thing about watching this film at the end of what we're dealing with COVID. It's like, holy shit. It's the end. And is Glenn Close Fauci? Fauci's trying to figure out, and he's good guy, bad guy, good person, bad person. She's just trying to figure out how to make it work. And it's after coming off of Army of the Dead, where the zombie thing is used to do many different things. All these, like World War Z does it. Obviously, Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead. George Romero's making a statement about humanity, which I don't think Zack Snyder was doing. Zack Snyder was not. This movie was going back to, let's make a statement about humanity, and let's do it for $5 million, and do it right. And they did it. I think they did it.
It's very ambitious. Yeah. I think they pulled it off too.
I think, and Al, does this fit your, like, just give me your, what's your, when you watched, after you watched the film, what was your take on this thing?
I mean, I liked it a lot. I think, once they get to the city, once you get into the sequences where they're like trying to walk slowly and quietly past these giant hordes of zombies, that really got me, and I really enjoyed watching that, and the tension that they were building. And when the mother was pushing the baby carriage and you see movement under the blanket, and you're like, okay, is this a zombie baby that we're looking at? And why is that action so ingrained in that zombie woman to push the carriage around constantly? And then you see Glenn Close, she uncovers the blanket, and it's a giant rat eating the fetal corpse, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
her horror is shared by you in that scene. It's really amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Like your face is in the same expression.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about the video game, The Last of Us, and I think certain sections of the film do remind me of a video game, and the approach to like going on a quest and finding things and trying to survive, and like walking through the horde of zombies. That kind of reminds me of like a quest in like The Last of Us, where you're trying to get from point A to point B to survive, basically.
And The Last of Us had the same idea with a fungus, right? This is the first time that I've seen a zombie movie that's based on a fungal thing, right? I guess. I guess if you break down, what's the movie with Kevin McCarthy very early on, the Pod People. I'm sorry.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now that's kind of a fungal thing, right? It's like, but this is the first time I've seen a zombie movie and they show and I didn't get it until you kind of look at it afterwards, and that they're all becoming vegetation.
They're evolving, yeah.
Yeah, they're evolving.
Yeah, they're becoming plants. That's right.
Plants. And Snyder tried to do that in Army of the Dead, right? That whole thing about the zombies that hibernate unless it rains. Of course, he never did anything about it.
Right.
And they did the same thing. This came out earlier, but they did the same thing. They hibernate, and that's why they're walking through the city slowly. But in this one, they're transitioning to the next stage,
right? Which
I quite enjoyed. I like the idea that there's a reason for this stuff going on. It's not just people from hell are coming up to eat everybody. There's something going on here and Glenn Close, your allegiance is flip-flopping with her because it's like she comes off as Mangala. She's doing experiments on these kids, but the fact is she's trying to figure out how to save humanity.
Well, the whole movie is about different levels of evolution. It's about the evolution of actual humans into these other creatures, and we'll talk about the end a little bit, but how that's really an end point for humans. And it's also the evolution of the character's perceptions of different things, especially obviously with Glenn Close. I mean, she literally says to Gemma Arterton several times in different ways, it presents as a child. It's not a child.
Right.
And as she goes through the movie, she realizes it's a little girl. It's a kid. It's also more than that or something besides that, but it is a living, thinking, familiar kind of a child that acts like a child. And also you have to make sure you let her out to eat cats or you're going to be in trouble.
Right.
And, Paddy Considine goes through a similar thing from when he's just afraid to being really concerned. Is she okay? Did we lose her? All this kind of stuff. And not just because she is essential, because she is essential to them. But it's all about this final stage of humanity, basically.
Well, you don't realize with him, too, that, he had a whole, until his death scene.
Right.
His stake in this. And that whole scene with her walkie-talkies, that's the thing. You're right. It's something is controlling her that they know is controlling her, but she's still a little person, a little kid. Right. And she's, I want to do a walkie-talkie. Let me do the walkie-talkie. I want to talk on the walkie-talkie. And he starts breaking down, because originally he was always strapping her up. He didn't want anything to do with her. And then by 3/4 of the film, he's trying to protect her. And yes, he's using her to get what he needs, but he's also, there's some, parenting going on there. And then you realize on his deathbed why that was the case. And
well, that's also really, I think, a good way to spin out what you would consider, dreaded backstory, is to have them behave in a certain way, and then it makes more sense. Not that it doesn't make sense, but you see why. You see him changing, and then at the end he gives it to you. And that's always, I think, a good thing in a movie like this. It's an end of the world type of thing because it's so extreme, but the people are still relatable. Like there's a thing in the Dawn of the Dead remake, which I remember because I literally just watched it last week, again for a palate brain cleansing, where the characters are sitting around having a dinner in the mall. And they say something like, what was your worst job? What was your best job? And one of them says, the job I was best at was being a dad. And you had no idea he had a family or any of that kind of stuff. And it's a really kind of a moving moment in a movie full of monsters and blood and violence and gunfire, that it's actually moving, these characters just having a human conversation. And
isn't it amazing?
There's a lot of real humanity in it. It's
right. But here's the thing. And this is, I don't want to do this. I'm going to do this because Zack Snyder was trying to do the same thing in his film. The whole backstory with the Dave Bautista's family, the whole daughter, the whole bullshit that he was trying to get. They did in one 35-second scene between Considine and the little girl. 35 seconds, and it had way more emotional weight than that other bullshit that was going on in that film. And that's why the timing of watching this film is actually kind of interesting, because I came off of that Zack Snyder thing, and you go, I'm done with zombie movies. I don't want to do this again. What can they do? I'm going to admit it, I loved World War Z, which I know is, not a lot of people. Right. And I actually like zombie films. Zack Snyder made me go, okay, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And then this one comes along and you go, okay, there is a reason they do these. There's thoughtful directors, producers, whatever, creators. There's a reason they're using zombies or anything to get a point across.
Yeah, but isn't it just about like telling a thoughtful story and wrapping it in a particular veneer?
It could be anything. You're right. It doesn't matter. Aliens does that with Alien, with the creatures up there. You're right. It doesn't matter. But having said that, 5 million versus 90, and you go, you know what? Why is that one getting more press than this one? Right? I mean, I didn't know about this film. I didn't know about this film until you brought it up.
That's one of the things, I know we both enjoy the movie critic, Mark Kermode.
Yeah.
And this is one of the movies I didn't know this for a while, but he loves it.
Yes, he
But
does.
he's also one of the people that he's always like, why didn't this movie find an audience? It doesn't matter. Find it now, because it's really worth seeing. And that's how I felt about it. That's why I've enjoyed sharing it, because it's just good.
Yeah.
It's just a good movie. And then the ending it goes in a direction that is both, it makes sense, but it's not a complete total surprise. But essentially what they do as they're trying to get to safety, to get to this other base, because the base that they're on gets overrun. That's what you see in the trailer. Excuse me, when Gemma Arterton is clutching Senya Nanua and a bunch of zombies are running at them. So this base is compromised, and those few characters, they get away, and they're trying to get to another place called Beacon, which is another base, and they run into other children like Melanie. Not the ones that were still at the base, the ones that were in the cells. We don't know what happened to them for most of the movie. But they run into basically feral children that are also not children, because they lure one of the characters, not one of the main four, but they lure one of the characters into a trap and kill him, and that turns into a trap to try to get the rest of them. And that's the part of the movie that almost, if it didn't work, it would really be silly. It's a lot of like children growling at each other and stuff.
Yeah,
but then
Lord of
she
the Rings,
actually
Lord of the
kills
Flies.
one.
Had a very Lord of the Flies
Yeah,
feel.
but she actually kills one.
They even they painted
face
stuff
paint,
on.
all that stuff. Yeah. And it's interesting also because they're little kids that live in a library.
Yeah.
So they're surrounded by knowledge that they don't have anything that they can do with it. That's the other thing. It's not exactly clear how long this world has existed like this.
Yeah.
If, as we learn later, that these children were babies that ate their way out of their mothers, does that mean that this has been, 8 or 10 years of this?
I would have to assume so.
I guess, because they don't say anything about them growing any faster. And this whole process of the zombies turning into these plants and growing these pods and all that stuff, that's not an overnight thing either. Like Glenn Close has been trying to save the world that's already gone for some time now. So
yeah, it's good. I never thought about that, but yeah, it has But again, that's with no backstory. That's what happens, right? It just
right.
They drop
fine.
you
It's
in. They
fine.
drop you underground. You have no clue what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
No clue.
that's good. It's
yeah,
also,
so-
I read a thing that the director, he said he was inspired by Gareth Edwards' movie Monsters. That's
Yeah,
the
I
movie
saw
that
that.
Gareth Edwards did before he did Rogue One and Godzilla.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have both seen it.
I know about it.
Really,
It's a father and daughter or something, and
it's basically
in Mexico, I think.
What the movie is about is that it's not really an alien invasion, but alien something has fallen on the border. So the whole thing is, of course, an allegory about the border, which remains as timely as ever.
Right.
And these two people, I cannot remember the actress's name, but the male lead is Scoot McNairy, one of Ralph's favorite actor names.
I love that guy.
And they are basically trying to get through this infected zone back to the relative safety of the United States. And the whole movie is like shot guerrilla style, with handheld stuff in Mexico with all effects and things added later. And it absolutely 100% shouldn't work. And it's beautiful and it's really well done. And it feels real. And the director said he was inspired by that. And I get that. I mean, everything is grubby and worn down and you feel their desperation, but in a way that I would feel it too, if I was in that situation and survived. And I think that's an interesting thing to influence him.
Yeah, no, you say that, and they're like, everybody's dressed in the same. I can't get past the reality and the you got to suspend disbelief. I get all that. It literally ends with the teacher, your girl from Disappearance of Alice Creed, who's fantastic, in the same clothes she was when she started the film, and I don't know. That's I have a little trouble with the reality of stuff.
The journey of the movie, we said we don't know how long this has been going on, but the journey of the movie is only a night or two.
Yeah,
like when they escape, they hit the road.
Yeah,
and they go in. It's supposed to be London,
except
you can tell from
the
skyline,
end where they open up the pods, and now she's
That's different. That's the only time that we don't know what the time jump is.
Basically, they've said, okay, fuck it, we're just gonna give everybody this thing, and it's a new world. It's a new evolution. We're going to evolve to whatever the next thing is.
Yeah, it's not a fuck it. It's Melanie's conscious decision to say, it's your time is over.
Yeah, she actually says that.
And it's our time now, and not even in a I'm going to conquer you way, but in a it's just you're done.
Now, is that Melanie talking or the fungus talking?
I think it's Melanie talking because the whole way that the children are different than the fungus, where it's a symbiosis rather than a parasitic relationship, is that the children, like, she has agency.
Yes.
And now one of the things that's in the book that's not in the movie, and there's a couple things I'll talk about in this vein, and it's okay that it's not exactly in the movie, but it gives it a bit of a different tone. In the book, you have, of course, her inner life, her interior monologue. She struggles with killing. She's like, I really don't want to kill that cat. I like the cat. A cat is nice. You know, she puts a picture of a cat up on her wall in the cell and on the window of the vehicle at the end. She just goes and eats cats in this movie. Like, she's hungry. She gets taken over by rage. She goes to eat them. She walks around with their blood all over her shirt for the next 4 hours or whatever. Talk about wearing the same clothes. But also Gemma Arterton, her character, Miss Justino, you know, immediately in the movie, she cares about these kids. She's their teacher. You don't really know that much about who she is or was before any of this, but she clearly cares for them. And like you said, becomes a parent to Melanie, even when she's not supposed to in the beginning. In the book, her character actually did accidentally killed a hit and run a kid.
Oh.
And then she never got in trouble for it because the zombie apocalypse started. So that both is a burden of guilt that she carries and also pushes her to say, like, I really got to do something right by these kids. Except
that would have
been that she. It's interesting, But the kids that she's helping aren't kids, but they're not kids.
No, but she's.
It's weird.
Oh wow.
The other big omission is that there are the fall of the base in the first half hour of the movie. I guess the way it's shown in the movie, it's not really super clear, but there are a bunch of zombies at the gates and they knock a hole in the fence and they run onto the base. In the book, there are other humans called junkers that are scavengers, murderers. Generally, they're the bad humans, which is a little weird since that means the good humans are operating on children, you know.
Right.
But the junkers actually breach the base to let the zombies in. You know, sort of like the end of Dawn of the Dead when the mall gets compromised because other shitty humans attack our heroes because the humans are always
the
facing
whole
the zombies.
listen, Walking Dead all becomes shitty humans. It's not about the zombies anymore. It's about shitty humans. Right.
So humans are a little more muddled.
Yeah.
In the movie. But let's talk about the ending because we've been talking about what that is. But basically, they discover that there are these humans that have become zombies, have sort of started to stick together and become plants. And some of them have become big stalked things. And there's a tower in the center, of Birmingham. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a real landmark. And that's the big tower in the movie that has stalks all the way up to the top. And they have these pods on them. And you see Glenn Close is trying to figure out what they are, but she says you can't break them, you can't crack them, you can't do anything. It's going to be a big change of temperature in it. And that's how the movie ends, is that Melanie lights a fire.
Well, okay. That's the one that's the one. Okay, I'm going to bring that up. That's the one Chekhov's gun that drove me crazy. When they come into that vehicle that becomes their savior, you know, with all the medical equipment, the oxygen.
Well, yeah, let's back up. Let's just back up and say that towards the end of the movie, they discover that the base that they're trying to reach, they don't even know if they're going to get it out of the city, and they discover a mobile lab.
Right, a mobile lab.
It's a full-on armored laboratory that was clearly from earlier in the effort, and Glenn Close recognizes it and says, "I thought it was destroyed," and so that becomes their base, where the rest of the movie they operate out of, and the rest of the movie is the last 20 minutes or something.
Right. And they send people out from there. One guy gets, like you said, gets killed by the people.
That's when they discover the kids. Yeah.
But the teacher comes over and picks up a box of matches. And all she does, she goes like this. And then and the little girl sees her with the matches, puts them down. And I said, okay, there's going to be a thing. And that's how the movie ends, which is they get that tower. And Glenn Close says, you can't break these things. Like you said, high temperature. And she lights the whole thing on fire. The pods open up and it's snowing the virus.
Spores.
Or the fungus.
Yeah, spores. Spores. Fungus spores, yeah.
And the life as we know it's going to change. It's the new evolution.
Well, it's not going to change. We're going to die.
Well, it's evolution. It's going to change. It's like a dinosaur get hit by the meteor. Same thing. The dinosaurs get hit by the meteor. Everything changes at that point. Same thing.
Yeah, we're basically extinct.
Except are we saying the only human left is the teacher who gets up every day and teaches the little zombie kids. That's how the movie ends, with the teacher behind the glass in the protected lab teaching the little zombie kids. And the girl is now the disciplinarian of the zombie.
Well, let's talk about that too.
Yeah.
Because I remember I said we don't know what happened to the other kids from the base. Right. And at the end of the movie, Miss Justineau is inside the glass airlock and she's teaching the kids. She's got a notepad board type of thing. Yeah. And the kids are sitting in rows, and some of the kids are in their red jumpsuits. So, some time has obviously passed, but maybe, Melanie went back and let them out. Who knows? Right. And some of the kids are the feral kids. And so like you said, you've got Melanie walking around at the kids that are acting out, that kind of thing. And that's quite different from the book, actually, because the events in the book are the same. That Melanie starts a fire, humans will be extinct. The only survivor that you see by the end of the book is Miss Justineau. But in the movie, the last thing we see her, and again, it's been some time and she's still wearing the same clothes, you see her and a single tear goes down her cheek because she's essentially a prisoner. Right. And she wakes up and she teaches these kids and she can't leave this vehicle. She can't go anywhere. That's where she's going to die. In the book, there's also the same events, but at the end when she's teaching them, she's got a suit on. And she's actually out among them and teaching them inside of a biohazard suit so she can touch them through her gloves. She can interact with them in ways that she wasn't allowed to treat them like children. And it's a different tone because the movie she is the last person and she is doomed. Right. And in the book, she is the last person and she is at peace with it. And she is atoning for her sin of accidentally killing a child, and she's really teaching them and interacting with them. And that is, I don't know why they made that change. There are other changes too, like Gemma Arterton's character, Miss Justineau, in the book is a middle-aged black woman, and Melanie is a little white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. And they reversed it in the movie because it's Hollywood and they don't give roles to middle-aged black women. This is not a Hollywood. But you know what I mean. Nobody's gonna be surprised that they were making attractive young actors.
The guards are making comments about how hot the teacher was.
Yeah,
One guy goes, "Oh, look at her, she's yeah."
She was. She is, and she is. That's a difference. It's a difference. Some people felt like critics felt like that was a change that they shouldn't have made, and blah blah blah. But the whole point isn't so much, to me, that they made a change so much as they preserved the relationship between this teacher and this little girl.
Right. But again,
I think it was just to bookend the film because the little girl starts out as a prisoner and now it's the teacher's turn to be a prisoner.
Right.
I think that's right.
100%.
Yeah, there's a symmetry to it.
But that works she's
in the movie, except that
in
the movie she's a prisoner and she knows she's a prisoner and she doesn't like it. And in the beginning, Melanie is a prisoner and just is like, well, this is life. I thought that Melanie was smarter.
Hello, Melanie.
Yeah. So the backstory, I really felt like I was sad because I realized the teacher was doomed. And I don't know if that's because I've become a big fan of this lady that we've watched, the disappearance of Alice Creed in this one, but it was melancholy because I realized she's stuck in there and it's over. Do you have a prop? What's this prop you keep mentioning?
Well, I didn't want cordyceps to get a bad name. Because I take it every day.
What is cordyceps?
It's a supplement. It's a supplement for your immune system. It's the fungus. So you take 2 pills twice a day, and it's supposed to be good for your immune system. My friend Maddie got it for me for a birthday gift a couple of years ago, and I used to get sick all the time, and I haven't had a cold in 2 years. And so I may ultimately turn into some sort of plant zombie.
Do you eat cats? I know you have dogs, but do you eat cats?
I have dogs and cats. I do Zerbert one of them pretty good, but I don't eat either of them. But cordyceps in the movie is not a villain. It's not like an alien invasion type of thing. It's a fungus that goes out of control. But there's also good cordyceps.
Yeah. Well, they never mention in the film how this all. You're right. We're just dropped right in. There's no backstory about how this thing.
That's for $90 million that you're missing out on. If you wanted to see that part of the movie, that's where all the budget would have been.
No.
Well, all the good stuff in Army of the Dead was in the opening credit scene.
Yeah, that was the best part of the whole film.
That was the fall of the world. And so, yeah, this movie is not about that. That's true. Yeah. Oh, one other thing. The music of that movie is great.
It's haunting. It's haunting.
Yeah, really mournful. The way he uses human voices, it's really lovely.
It's
and
haunting.
the composer and the director, they've both done a lot of British TV, like episodes of Doctor Who and Black Mirror and stuff like that. And the composer did the music for a show called Humans, which was a British show about basically androids that look like people that you can buy, and they are your servants. And then, of course, maybe they become sentient.
Oh, did they? Which Black Mirror episode did they work on? Do you know?
I can look.
Is it the one with the
Cole McCarthy is the name of the director, and let's see what episode.
Because I love Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Oh,
he did. Hang on.
I mean, there was one with Domhnall Gleeson where he
that
was.
Did he do
android.
that one? Because that's the
out.
one he would do with the doll that they stick up in the attic at the end of the thing.
He did Black Museum. Black Museum was, I think, the one with the girl, Letitia Wright, who is Shuri in the Black Panther movie.
Okay.
It's about a roadside museum, the Black Museum.
I remember that one,
which has all those artifacts and stuff.
Yeah.
So he directed that.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, no, I mean, this is Black Mirror is a Twilight Zone sensibility. This movie certainly has that kind of doomed sensibility. So that makes sense.
Al, is this a dystopian to your liking or what?
It was. I think with with her lighting the tree on fire or the tower. I don't know that I don't know that I like that for some reason. I don't know that was the sensible choice for her character to make, because I feel like humanity was doomed anyway. So like I understand her wanting to kill Glenn Close because Glenn Close wanted to kill her, but like I feel like humanity was doomed anyway. So why did she want to clean the slate and not go on with her teacher on the outside instead of being separated?
I think because she knew she couldn't keep her safe. Like, okay. I think that's what it was. She wanted to put somebody like Paddy Considine's character, she wanted to put him out of his misery, which he literally does.
Yes,
because as he starts to turn, she shoots him and puts him out of his misery. And the only way she can protect Miss Justina, who she loves and who does love her as a mother and child, is to lock her up. Yeah. Because as much as she's in charge of those kids, she's not dumb, and she knows that they're going to be feral. They eat other people. We see that in the movie. So it may really be like it's time, and I'm going to save the one thing that I want to save from this old world, but it's our world now. And that's not like an angry thing. It's just it's going to happen. So let's do it now. And then I can keep control of it because she's a very bright little girl or whatever she is.
Isn't it amazing? You can have like this philosophical conversation about this film, and then that other piece of shit. You go, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it. It's, I don't want to keep bringing that up, but zombie movies, if you're going to do a zombie movie, it's going to be compared to other zombie movies. That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's the thing you do. And this one deserves to be.
The thing you do is a different movie, but also very good.
I understand, but this one deserves to be talked about where the other one doesn't, is my except in negative tones, and go, don't do that next time. I don't know. Anyway.
I think you guys you should play The Last of Us. It's a really good game. The story is really solid. There are a lot of parallels, but the main crux of the story follows an older white guy and a young girl who's not related to him, but she basically is the cure for the zombie plague, much like this film. And you follow their adventures, and I think we should maybe throw up spoilers for this game, but like the ending parallels this one, where the girl doesn't make the choice, but the two characters go to this facility and they're going to kill the girl in order to get the vaccine, to create the vaccine. Okay. But the guy decides no, he doesn't want them to kill her, so he basically sacrifices the world for their relationship and their bond, and then they run off and go away and live.
Isn't he motivated? Like, isn't the opening scene that you play in the movie is his daughter being killed, and he can't save her? So he's driven by the same thing that Justineau is driven by in the book, which is, I get it. I don't know that I'd sacrifice the world for it, but I get it.
Yep.
You know, I've only heard good things about that game and the sequel, and I believe that they're actually making a movie of it. And that's probably a bad idea, but the story of the game
because
seemed really
the movie
compelling.
already exists.
Right.
It's this movie.
It's this movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the comparison. Wow.
It's this
All
movie.
right. Well, listen, I thought that was after what we did with the other one. I'm glad I picked this one based on the words, and it does restore my humanity in zombie films. So
I'm sorry. Did you do that? Did you do that last week? The Zack Snyder film?
we did a couple weeks ago. That was one of the
on a different show
on Stream Quest that we do. We do
I see.
Current films, and that was Zack Snyder. When we launched Stream Quest is when he did the Justice League thing, right? And then a couple weeks later, he comes out with this one, so we did that one as well. And it was roundly panned and should have been panned. It was terrible, and his choices he made were terrible, and including shooting at himself and all the other crap that we talked about. And like Drew was saying, the best part of the film is the opening thing, which he does great.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, I'm done. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't want to do another zombie film but then you see this and you go, okay, there's reasons why people use this metaphor because it's, it's powerful. And it did restore my, now I want to see a couple more and keep rolling. So
as long as if you listen to this show and you find that you find movies that are weird that you probably never heard of and you get a lot out of them, well, then, our work is done.
Yeah. And I wouldn't, these are films, and I asked Drew and Al, you're telling me you're getting movies delivered into your house, mainlined into your house through Vinegar Syndrome, which is great.
By weight, he said.
By weight, 9 pounds.
I'm
You
getting
get
9 pounds of
films,
movies.
which is I've never heard anybody describe it like that. These are films I would never have watched. And I'm sure there's films that I would pick that you guys would never watch as well. And this is what fascinates me about this, because there's so many things out there that you just miss if you're closed and you don't want to see other stuff outside of that. And this is what makes this fascinating, which brings me to episode number 25, which we're going to do as
something that you want to see.
Ralph's request. There I am.
There you are.
Here I am. Ralph's request.
I like the new graphic.
Thank you. And it's a movie called Teeth.
Great film. Great choice.
Al, why don't you describe Teeth? And we'll do that next week.
I have just one sentence. Vagina dentata is real. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
That's all you need to know.
If there were 4 words to describe this film, is that it? Vagina dentata is real. That's 4 right there, right?
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
good.
Well, there you go.
You still got it.
This is a movie. I'll just explain to the cult-like people like me. It's about a woman whose vagina has teeth, right? That it?
Yep.
And the teeth.
everything
Well,
that's
you
associated with
have
that.
expressed a discomfort for some time with watching this movie, that it made you uncomfortable, which is understandable.
Right.
It's a really good movie, but it also is about something that will endanger your male genitals, and I get the concern.
Right.
It does indeed.
Yes,
And
I'm
I can't
uncomfortable at
promise
certain
you, but
things.
we may have a guest join us next week.
Oh,
Is it
we'll see.
a someone who has vagina dentata? Are we going to get
you
a
got
demonstration?
Are you burying the lead? Who is this guest?
Let's say not the teeth part, but it is my wife, and she may be able to join us. She's a big fan of this film and has strong feelings about this film, and I think it's a great movie, and I think it's a great choice. I think you will have a strong reaction to it as well.
I guess I'll watch it. I don't know what kind of reaction I'll have. I'll watch it.
Well, it's on Amazon Prime, so
it is.
Can hop
it's
on
streaming,
you
huh?
want. Yep.
It's streaming.
Yep.
That's amazing. All right. Well, I can't
There's
wait.
so many penises in this, Ralph. You're going to be excited.
That's true.
Well, listen. 1313 had no penises, okay, and that.
Well, you're gonna get your dick, Ralph.
I'm gonna get my fill of this Filipinas. All right, but that's I'm thrilled that it's episode 25. We're a quarter, whatever. I don't know, 25 of what? It doesn't matter. But it's episode 25. So I know. I can't wait. So Teeth. Any actors in this one that we would know?
There's a bunch of people you'd recognize from different television shows that all have challenging last names to pronounce, and some of them are in shows that you've probably seen, but there is no like big famous lead. There's no Gemma Arterton, if that's what you're asking.
Nope.
I'm a big
Or
fan
Noah
of hers.
Wiley.
Yeah.
Or Noah Wiley, no.
Noah Wiley's in this one?
He's
No.
not.
Okay.
He should
All
be.
right. He should be. All right. Teeth next week.
Teeth.
Keep watching Cult. Have a good week, you two.
You
And
too.
same.
See you, buddies.
Talk about Teeth. And Kelly's going to be on or not?
She might. We'll find out.
All right.
Checking with her agent.
Surprise. All right. All right, guys. Have a good week.
You too.
Yeah.